Kalvin Phillips is a hammer for a few months at least. Anyway, as we say, big news. It's not really. It's big. It's not news. It's a big announcement. The announcement has been made. He's a lion. He's an iron, and he's ready to roar in claret and blue. Kalvin Phillips' words. I don't know why that bit tickled me. It was almost like somebody was trying to come up with an announcement video. I'm not feeling too creative today. What will we get Kalvin to say? Just do that. That sounds good, doesn't it? Anyway. Kalvin Phillips is ready to roar in claret and blue for West Ham. Joins on loan from Manchester City for the remainder of the season. But I think the big news is not the signing as such, but that there's no option to buy in the loan deal. This has been disputed over the last couple of days. I think for a few days now, since Monday, it's been obvious that Kalvin Phillips was coming to West Ham on loan, or that West Ham were confident of getting Phillips on loan. The big question mark wasn't, is Phillips coming? The big question mark was, is there an option to buy in there? And up until, this morning, late last night, it was reported by very credible people, ex-West Ham employee, Dermesh of Sky Sports, Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, Jacob Steinberg. They were reporting that there is an option to buy, and it was 40 million. But over the last few hours, that changed quickly and drastically to no option to buy. It's just a straight loan deal. So West Ham do not have that agreed fee for Kalvin Phillips in the summer. I think they were trying to get it in there, and I think Man City were happy to put it in there. But I think it sounds like two things are at play here. First of all, there's the fee itself, which we were struggling to agree on. And I think the 40 million was almost accepted. But the problem is, I don't think West Ham have any intention of paying 40 million for Kalvin Phillips in the summer. I think we've decided that even if we agree that, it's a bit pointless. We're not going to be activating that. We're not paying 40 billion for him with that wage package that he comes with as well. And the second thing is, and this is a tweet from Fabrizio Romano, suggested that in the summer it'd be a completely different negotiation altogether, and it may include players. Now, also, we know who that is. It's Lucas Paqueta. So you do just wonder, maybe his names came up in conversation over the last week or something, and that's made West Ham go, nah, do you know what? We'll have no option to buy. Now, from a personal standpoint, I dislike loan deals without them when we're loaning players in. When we're loaning players out, I don't mind it too much. It gives the club, sorry, let me rephrase that. When we loan players out, it doesn't bother me there's an option to buy or not in there. But when we are loaning players in, I like to see it in there. It's almost like a safety net, isn't it? So if it works out really good, we don't get done. We don't get our pants pulled down. Imagine we agreed a 30 million one for Phillips. He came in and smashed it. Suddenly we've got a bit of a bargain in the summer. But in this case, in terms of principles, I still think it's a bad thing not to have it. But in this case, I'm not too bothered. And the reason being is because even if Phillips came in and smashed it and had a massive impact with us, and I hope he does, and I think he will. I think he's good. I think the loan move is a fantastic signing for us. But even if he did all that and he had Jesse Lingard levels when he came, I'm still not sort of convinced 40 million in the summer would be a good deal. It still seems expensive when you take everything into consideration. I'd imagine when negotiating a loan, the option to buy part is the difficult bit. It'd be okay if there was an obligation. I think Man City might be more inclined to accept it if we were definitely buying him in the summer. But an option leaves City in limbo. They're not sure if we're going to buy him in the summer or not. We know what the price will be if we do, but they don't know. You have to wait and see. We got done in the summer. We got done with Vlasic. He went to Torino, did really well. The option there was 10, 12 million, whatever it was. And we were just expecting Torino to activate that option to buy Vlasic. But they basically turned around and said, no, we're not paying that. Don't like it. And he wants to come to us. Vlasic wants to join us. He's only coming to us. So now we're going to negotiate a new price. So we got done in regards to the Vlasic deal this summer. So I think it can be a bit of a tricky one for the clubs loaning them out. But anyway, my point was, and imagine when it comes to these loan talks, the wage thing can be simple. In Kalvin Phillips' case, we were always going to have to cover 100% of his wages. That was always going to be one of the demands for Manchester City. So I'd imagine that was a very quick conversation as to whether or who is paying the wages of Kalvin Phillips. The loan fee, there was always going to be a loan fee. It was just a case of how much. City wanted 7 million. We're probably not going to pay that. But we accepted they're going to need a few million at least anyway. So there wasn't much wiggle room there. But imagine the option to buy is what was the time-consuming part and where there was big disagreements when the clubs. So it sounds like West Ham just decided, you know what, let's just not put it in there. Let's hurry this loan deal up and get it done in case Newcastle are able to move on someone. If Newcastle were able to sell someone, whether it be Trippier, Almiron, Wilson, now I know they play different positions to Kalvin Phillips, obviously, but it would give them the funds. They'd get that injection of money they needed, and all of a sudden they could be in the race for Kalvin Phillips in the last week of the transfer window. So I think the club have done the right thing. If it means speeding this up and getting it done, it's right. I just don't like it, no option to buy. But like I said, even if there was one at 40 million, my appetite to see that turn into a permanent transfer at the minute remains low. Now, if he comes in and smash it, I might change my mind, but still, it's pricey. The Paqueta thing, do you know something? I don't care. I've seen a lot of people suggest Man City are only giving us Phillips to butter us up for Lucas Paqueta. I don't think it matters. Paqueta has a very public release clause of 85 million. I would expect West Ham to say that is the price. He's 85 million, and that's that. You have to meet his release clause, or we're not selling him. So I don't see how Phillips coming to us butters us up. The price is 85 million with Phillips or 85 million without Phillips. And I hope this doesn't turn into a part exchange where we get Phillips and a bit of money for Paqueta. I don't want to see that whatsoever. If you want him, it's 85 million. Simple as that. There's no negotiations to be done in terms of Lucas Paqueta as far as I'm concerned. And I would expect our club to take that stance. Right, I'm going to take some of your comments though. Let's see what you're all saying. Gabriel says, out of favour, England international playing for a Manchester squad, signing on loan in January to West Ham. Feel like I've seen the story before. Do you think Moyes would drop Souček though? So key in the box. And I'm not sure. I think some games he will drop Souček, and I think some games he won't. I think it'll differ. We'll have to wait and see. The difference between Phillips and Lingard was Phillips is in the England squad. Lingard wasn't. He got into it during the loan spell, then didn't make it in the Euros. Whereas Phillips is in it. I think Phillips would be going to Germany regardless of his loan move. It's just a case of does he get in the starting 11 for England? I think that's the big difference. Marky says, let's be honest, 40 million this day is not expensive, especially for a current England international who's an upgrade on what we have. Carl saying, if City get found guilty, they might have to have a fire sale on players. Cheechton says, biggest concern is we end up with a Lingard situation where we have a loan player with no option to buy. So we end up being linked back to him for years afterwards if he's a success. The one thing I will say, I think that 40 million fee feels top end. It's not a bargain. It doesn't feel like a bargain. So even if Phillips came in and smashed it and we went to City in the summer and said, right, we want to buy him, I'd imagine the price is 40 million, even if he's had a really good loan spell for us. I struggle to see Phillips being worth more than 40 million in the summer, regardless of how he performs at West Ham. So I'm not too... Usually I'd be annoyed with this no option to buy, but this time I'm not. And how many clubs can afford to buy Phillips for 40 million in the summer? There's not many. There's not many clubs that will be able to. How many will want to? Again, not many. And while Jesse Lingard done us over a bit, I'm not sure Phillips will. I do think I could be naive here, but Phillips comes across as the type of guy that would give you his loyalty to some extent. I could be wrong on that one. Time will tell. Artel said Paqueta's not going to Man City with 115 charges, and Phillips won't be returning there either. They'll be sanctioned by then. But says City might be in League 2 by the summer, so we'll get Phillips for peanuts, and Paqueta won't want to go there. There is all this as well. I do, like I said, I think the option to buy, usually I'm a bit gutted, and when we had it, I liked it. But thinking about it over the last hour or two, I'm not that bothered. Carl says Paqueta's going to City anyway. I'm a bit like that too. So to get Phillips out of the deal is great. 85 million for Paqueta plus Phillips. Feza says we're probably hoping plays well, likes at West Ham, pushes for a permanent transfer, putting more pressure on them to lower the price. The other thing is the big difference between Phillips and Jesse Lingard is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer messed Lingard around. Lingard came here, went back to Man U in the summer, and Solskjaer said, hey, you've got a chance. Come on, we're going to give you another chance here. Because of what we saw, you're going to get a chance. And Lingard believed him. The thing Lingard was guilty of in that summer, not the second one when he joined Forest, the first one when he remained at Old Trafford, the only thing, in my opinion, that Jesse Lingard was guilty of was trusting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That's what he was guilty of. Pep Guardiola has made it very clear There's no future for Kalvin Phillips at Man City. Very, very clear. Even speaking about this move, he's basically said, well, he's a good person, but he's not got the qualities I need. So Phillips is up for sale in the summer, regardless of the loan move. Don't watch says, what I would say is that even if he did have an amazing half season, he's still injury prone. He's still 28. I don't think his price goes past 40 mil. Completely agree with that one. Wacky says, surely he starts with Payne's wage. I think he'd start anyway, truth be told. Moyes is a huge, huge fan of him. Steve says, City are going to struggle to pay 85 for Paqueta with FFP. Is that why they're using Phillips? Well, they can all they want. Like I said, I don't want it to be part of the deal. I think we stick to our guns. It's 85 million. We'll give you 30 for Phillips, but 85 million for Paqueta. Carl says Phillips' distribution from the middle of the park is key, with Paqueta bowling on the wings, getting direct balls when pinging into the box to Kudus, who's near guaranteed to score. Feels so good. I'm looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to seeing Kalvin Phillips. Tony says part exchange Phillips to get Paqueta cheaper in the end. Alvarez and Phillips preferred, but inevitable yellows will hamper this. This is where Souček slips back in. That's okay. Like, I want us to see the thing that's frustrated me about seeing Ward-Prowse and Souček in the middle. I don't like it when Alvarez isn't there. I don't like that pairing. But the thing that frustrates me more is not that pairing. It was originally, but it's the lack of options to change it. We didn't have anyone else to play there. We just had to keep doing what we were. Now, Moyes could have done something else and been a bit more creative. But ultimately, regardless of what he did, Ward-Prowse and Souček would have played. So with Phillips now, if Alvarez is out, you've got those three. But even if all four are available in Souček, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, and Souček, Alvarez, Phillips, and Ward-Prowse, all four are available, Moyes got options. And I just don't want to see a one-glove fits all for us for the rest of the season. It depends on who we're playing as to who I want to see play in that midfield. There could be a game where we might need all four of them in there. I don't know. There could be. But we've got options now. And the other thing is domino effect, which is we now have someone on the bench, which is good enough for the first 11. At the minute, when we've got Alvarez, Souček, and Ward-Prowse, there's no one on the bench to come on and play centre mid. Not really. I know Ben Johnson looked good against bottom of the table Sheffield United, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure I want to see Ben Johnson as our substitute midfielder. But now, if those three start, Phillips is on the bench. If Souček's on the bench, brilliant. We need to protect the lead. Bring him on for the defensive side of it. We need a goal. Bring him on for the offensive side of it. I think we've got options now with this four in midfield. Gaz said he's happy we've got Phillips, but why are so many people blowing smoke up his arse? Just to justify when the inevitable happens and Moyes drops Alvarez for him. Well, we don't know. Guys, I don't know. I'm sorry to call you out, guys, but people are getting excited about us signing Kalvin Phillips, and that's a good thing. Let them get excited. If Moyes drops Alvarez for Phillips, then everyone will have a right to complain, and you'll come back and say, I told you so, and that's okay. But the people that are excited are allowed to change their mind. But right now, they're also allowed to get excited by the signing of Kalvin Phillips. You just said you're happy we've got Phillips. So is the other people. I'm delighted we've got him. Do I know what Moyes is going to do? No. I have a feeling that against Bournemouth, if Paqueta's not 100% fit, I've got a feeling we'll see all four. I think we'll see Phillips, Alvarez, Souček, and Ward-Prowse, and Ward-Prowse will just play on the left. I don't like it. I don't want it, but I've got a feeling that's what he might do. But we can't, I don't know. Come on, guys. We can be grumpy when it happens and not about the prospect of it. Hammer99 says 40 mil is very pricey, so glad we didn't put that option in there. It'll be 29 in December, meaning we have two English centre midfielders needing 30 on big wages by end of year. Not clever recruitment. That's a bit like me. I'm a bit like that as well. Cam says, feel like he did it for the Euro first 11. If he does well, just let him go. Timmy could make that 40 million go a long way and bring in young, hungry players with huge potential. I agree. Swift says, Fabrizio even said about the option to buy, no obligation to buy was the quote when just changed. During the night, I think the journalist got updated. I think we just struggled to agree something. I don't think it's a big deal. I'd imagine West Ham would have decided it's not worth haggling over and we've got to get this wrapped up. For all we know, we don't know. I don't know. I'm speculating here. For all we know, maybe we've been given a heads up that another club's interested in Kalvin Phillips. I mean, there was talk of Barcelona and Juventus. You don't know. And at 40 million, I don't think it's worth like pissing around over, because like I said, it depends on what your belief is, but I believe the same thing as, I think it was Artel that said it, even if he does well, his price in the summer is probably 40 million, so whether we have an option to buy or not, I'd imagine they'll accept it. Major, I did have a cronut yesterday. It was nice. That was nice, I thought, actually. I was hoping for a bit more, but I really do love cronuts at the minute, and it was good. A 7 out of 10. I was pleased with it. We'd purchase again, but I'm not in a hurry. Like I said, he'd play Alvarez in the middle with Phillips and Ward-Prowse and Paqueta roaming ahead of them. The problem with that is actually 4 midfielders. So unless you're going Bowen and Kudus up front, you've got one on the right and one up front, you're sort of missing the left-hand side, aren't you? We're seeing any news about further. We've been linked to a player I've never heard of again, so I can't tell you his name. I've screenshotted it. Guys, you don't have to give me a $5 super chat. I would have read out your comment without it. Guys, sorry for being grumpy. I just want to make more of the free pass in midfield. He's happy. I get it, guys. I get it. I do get it. But thank you for the £5 super chat. Hey, you just bought me a cronut. There you go, Major. I'm waiting for another cronut, thanks to Gaz being grumpy. But I get it. I just dislike it when people tell other people to stop being excited. I think it's because I get told it a lot. When we beat Spurs just before Christmas, I was buzzing. I was absolutely buzzing with it. And I think we got smashed by Fulham the following game, didn't we? We beat Spurs during the week, and on the Sunday, Fulham smashed us. And a couple of people said, "Oh, I bet you weren't. I bet you regret being that happy after the Spurs win." I was like, "Well, no. I'm still buzzing about the Spurs win. I'm pissed off that we got smashed by Fulham, but I don't regret being happy. And I just dislike it when people tell you what you can feel. If you're excited, people say you're getting carried away. And just like if I'm grumpy, people say, "Oh, you're being a bit negative." And it's my emotion. It's my honest emotion. I just think people, if you're happy, be happy. If you don't like the Kalvin Phillips transfer, don't like it. If you think it's a crap one, it's a waste of money, then think it's a crap one, it's a waste of money. Just be honest with your thoughts and emotions. And I just don't like it when other people, especially in this day and age, you see it with everything, not just West Ham, everything, where people are telling you what you're allowed to think. And it's a baffling attitude for me. I just don't get it. Just have your own opinions. Anyway. Percy says, real positive signing. The player needs to perform to get back into England 11 and maybe put himself in the shop window. Win-win. Great options. Completely agree with that one. Adrian said if he comes in, gets us into Europe next season, I'll cover his loan fee and wages. Thank you. And we all move on. Probably, 1 or 2 spots in Premier League and getting us into the next round of the Europa, pays back his wages. He doesn't even have to qualify for European football next season. Hopefully he does. Carlo says it's a perfect fit. He'll get used and improve the team. I agree with that one. No 5 cronuts, Major. YouTube take a large cut of that super chat. That's why. I mean, I already say go Patreon, but Patreon takes a large cut of it as well. Everyone takes a large cut of it. YouTube take cuts of super chat and the ad revenue. Patreon take a large cut of the Patreon. Shopify take a cut of what we sell on the store. Everybody's taking a cut. I can afford 2.5 cronuts, thanks to Gaz. Jordan says, I'm happy with the loan, just hope it's not a permanent transfer. So I'm like that at the minute. However, I've reserved the right to change my mind. Wacky says, I'm well happy with Phillips. I think everyone should be. We never sign in January. We do sign in January. Danny Ings, Jared Bowen, Thomas Souček, Jesse Lingard. We always sign. I say always. We usually sign. They're not always good though, M and EK. But we always do. Most of the time we do business in January. I think we should stop drawing on his price and worry about it. And so I think that's what David Sullivan's done, truth be told. Kyle said, might not be a bad thing to rotate Ward-Prowse, Souček, get stale in that midfield. I agree. Some games will need Souček and some games will need Ward-Prowse. It depends how we're going to play. If we are going to be sitting back and counter-attacking, I would argue that Ward-Prowse up alongside Bowen is the best way of doing it, because it allows us to have that. But if we're, under the cosh, then Thomas Souček's a better player for it. But Souček's a far better defensive midfielder. Let me reword that, actually. Souček's defensive abilities are far better than James Ward-Prowse's. But I think Ward-Prowse is better at keeping possession. I think he's better at pressing. Souček's a bigger threat in the 18-yarder. Ward-Prowse is a bigger threat outside the 18-yarder. They've both got completely different sets of attributes, and that's a good thing. Having variety is an excellent thing. I think sometimes you need similarity. If you're going to take Alvarez out, ideally you want someone very similar to Alvarez going in. And this is where I think Phillips is close to, but not completely the same as Alvarez. He's different, but he has that defensive part of his game that Alvarez has that I would suggest Souček nor Ward-Prowse have. And I think having options is a very healthy thing. We've not had it all season. I'm really excited by this. People are now asking about the bloody cronut now. Jamie, Major said it's a cross between a croissant and a donut. It is that. It's a bit weird. I prefer the Yum Nut from M&S. I prefer the Yum Nut between the Yum Yum and the donut. Marky said, I'm happy with the signing. Think he could have picked from a few clubs. Think a lot of people are a bit annoyed he turned us down. Honestly, I don't see it as him turning us down. He did turn us down in the January because Leeds were in a relegation battle. First of all, Leeds were never accepting a bid. And second of all, even if they did, I think it's a fantastic characteristic if Phillips has turned around and said, no thanks, I'm not leaving. I'm going to stay at my boyhood club. I'm going to keep them in the Premier League. And then in the summer, I'll reevaluate. I think that's a wonderful thing to have because it means that things go wrong at West Ham. There's a good chance Phillips to say, I'm not leaving. I'm going to stay here and get the job done. So that doesn't bother me. I think it's a good thing. And then in the summer, Man City came in for him. I find it hard to blame Phillips for going to Man City. He probably believed that he could get a game there when he'd play a part and win trophies. I mean, he's won trophies. He hasn't contributed, but he's won. I don't blame him. Anyone that gets a chance to go to Man City is going to take it. I don't think it was a money grab going to Man City because he's on 130, 140 grand a week. Depends what you read and where you believe. But even that wage, you could have got that, probably got that with us, or not far off it. We know we pay our players 125 grand a week. So he would have got the money at West Ham. So I don't see it as a money-motivated move going to Man City. I think it was a trophy-motivated move. It's worked out. He's got medals. Like I said, he hasn't participated as much, but he's got them. Listen, at the end of the day, come the end of their careers, there's a chance that Kalvin Phillips will have more medals than Declan Rice. The legacy may not be the same, but there's a chance that Phillips will have more. Rice has only got one at the minute. It was with West Ham. So I don't blame him whatsoever. Carl says another Rice-type character having training ground, good business by West Ham. Low maintenance, high ability. That's the phrase they've attributed to at Man City. And Aqua says, did I sell on my Christmas? Skip my comments. Get over yourself. What are you on about? I don't even know what you're referring to. What do you mean? Get over myself. I don't get what you're referring to here. But no, we didn't sell the ball. We've not sold all the jumpers. There's still a few left. A couple have been sold in the sale. We've got a sale on at the minute, by the way. Hammerchatstore.com. It says sale. The link's in the description. We've got a sale on. And some of the Christmas jumpers are in there. Not all of them, though, because they're good. I'm going to keep them for next Christmas and continue to sell them at full price. But the jumper from 2022 is for sale, 20 quid instead of 30 quid. So it's quite a good difference. Mark, I don't know. I don't even know what he's referring to. I can't click on every comment. I'd literally be here all day, but I'm just picking random ones. But maybe he doesn't like Kalvin Phillips or Christmas jumpers. But he says, just signed a great personality. Hopefully we can keep him fit and get him and James Ward-Prowse into the England squad. Well, the funny thing is, I think I wasn't going to say this because it's like negative, right? But I think Phillips joining West Ham stops Ward-Prowse getting in the England team. I think any chance Ward-Prowse have of getting into that England squad relied on Kalvin Phillips not getting any minutes for Man City for the remainder of the season. Even then, I'm still not sure he'd get it. But I think Phillips coming to West Ham might have just made it incredibly unlikely Ward-Prowse gets into the England team. Not only that, there's two. There's one is the transfer of Kalvin Phillips, and the second one is the transfer of Jordan Henderson. I think Henderson going to Ajax probably keeps him in the England squad as well. So those two transfers, I think, have stopped Ward-Prowse from getting into any chance of getting into the England squad. That's my opinion anyway. That's my opinion. Harry says, how far up the table do you think we'll finish now with Phillips? Although, to be honest with you, it's top 8. I've said top 8 all season. 8. I've been precise, actually. 8 all season. I'm sticking with 8. I hope it's higher, obviously, but I think we will do well to finish 8th as well. I think 8th is a good season for us. Abu says that happy with Phillips signing, wanted this to start the window, just hope his injuries don't get in the way. I do as well, but that's the gamble you take, and I think it's I think it's worth it. Thank you to people that are saying that the Sky Sports is reporting that Real Betis is coming in for Fornals. I was reading that this morning because one of their players, I don't follow Spanish football. Enrique, is that his name? Enrique is leaving. They're selling Enrique, and the funds from that sale are what is going to fund the move for Pablo Fornals. Personally, I'd like to keep him till the summer because I'd rather get rid of Said Benrahma. If one of Fornals and Benrahma goes, and I struggle to believe both go, then I think I'd sell Benrahma and retain Fornals until the summer, and he would go in the summer because I think whatever we get for Fornals today, 10 million, and that's been optimistic. I think we get that in the summer. I think the clubs that want him today, Real Betis and Sevilla, want him in the summer as well. So I don't think there's too much of a disadvantage to holding on to him. And I say that he's pretty poor, isn't he? Just anyway. Bill says, without an agreement, this suggests Steidon is already planning the replacements. I'm not sure. I think we would have liked an option to buy with just 40 million, and we probably thought we're not going to pay that. So what's the point of having it in there? If it was 30 million, I bet you we would have had that option to buy in there just like that. But because they were wanting so much, I think we've decided to leave it. Hammer 99 says he would agree. He would keep Fornals over Benrahma. Fornals can do the change. He seems to have a better attitude at the moment. Major says he's a bit like Katie Price. Used to look amazing, but now looks a bit of a mess of what they once were. Fair enough. Jordan said, what does this mean for Downs? Because he's playing great. I think it means he's off in the summer. I think Southampton can have him. 10 million, I'd imagine. There you go. There's your 10 million. But saying that, listen, in the summer, Kalvin Phillips could go back to Man City. We don't buy him. And so there's possibly an opportunity for Flynn Downs at West Ham. I just struggle to see any future for him. I'd imagine he will be one of the first players sold in the summer. And if we can get 10 million for him, and we should do, because again, he's one of the better performing centre midfielders in the Championship, just like he was at Swansea when we picked him up. So he is one of the best centre midfielders in the Championship. And for relegated clubs or clubs trying to get promoted, that's a very good signing. For lower league Premier League clubs like those who are getting promoted, I think he's worth the gamble actually at 10 million. I think it's quite a cheap signing for a homegrown player that could or should be good enough for the Premier League. Anyway, I'm going to disappear. Otherwise, I could be here all day. Thank you very much for joining me. There you go. Kalvin Phillips, West Ham United player, but no option to buy in this summer. Well, that's the latest anyway. It'll probably change. The journalists will probably come out with new news later on today. But that's it. Thank you very much for joining me live. Thank you for getting involved in the live chat as well. And thank you to Gaz for the £5 super chat. I'm going to have a cronut with my lunch today. So, guys, thank you very much. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like, subscribe to Hammers Chat. Check out our sale. Go to hammerschatstore.com, click on sale. We've discounted all our Conference League merch. The player ratings books, they're completely free. You don't have to pay anything. They are free. Go grab one. And there's Hammers Chat football shirts in there, a Christmas jumper in there, the ones that Aqua doesn't like. They're in the sale. There's a print in the sale. There's a Julian Dix painting, and it's 400 quid. But it's done by Canning Town Line. Only one exists, and it's hand signed by Julian Dix. Anyway, sales there. I'll catch up with you later.